Raising a serial killer. Did you just admit to aiding and abetting in a murder? Because you're admitting he's going to kill somebody in the future. Me, my wife, and my 3-year-old son are sitting in the food court at Costco. I have never been in there. There's another family with a 4 to 5-year-old girl sitting behind us. My son looks at me and says, "Do you see that girl over there? I'm going to teach her a lesson." What? So I am taken aback for a second, then I think he must intend to teach her numbers or some other normal thing you teach people. So I ask, what is he going to teach her? And his response, "I'm going to teach her to drown." Yep, just real quick, take like 5 minutes, I'll be right back, Dad. No. We are calling the cops and getting you into some serious therapy. Dude, if I heard that before someone started walking up to me, I'd be like, bruh, come near me, I'll punch you in the butt. Pig mask. This sounds like one of those weird indie horror movies that make no sense. Everyone just dies in the end. Our old house was on a corner, had a side yard with a small deck that wrapped around the back. The dining room had patio doors that led out to the back, and we would have barbecues and such back there. When I was about 14, we only had one desktop computer and one laptop for the family. My brother and I would fight over the desktop, so I would use the laptop to write music. On one particular night, my brother had a friend over and they were downstairs doing whatever, and I was at the dining room table on the laptop. As I was wrapped up in my writing, I didn't pay much attention to my surroundings. I heard a knock on the patio door which startled me. I looked up, expecting my brother or his friend, and standing at the door and waving was a person, could not tell the sex or age, wearing a Halloween pig mask. Are you joking? Thinking it was my brother or his friend, I mouthed, "Good one," and gave the person the finger and they walked away. As soon as they left, I went downstairs to give them crap. And to my surprise and dismay, they were both sitting on the couch playing the PlayStation. They swore up and down it wasn't either of them, and there was no way one of them would have had the time to get downstairs and unmask before getting on the couch. To this day, I have no idea who it was that knocked and waved. Probably just some kid in the neighborhood messing with you. Or a serial killer. Last day on Earth. For who? Me? No. I worked from 2 to 11 p.m. at a gas station in one of the nicer cities around here, and I had a gentleman look me in the eyes and ask if I'm enjoying my last day on Earth. Walked away before I could answer. Honestly, there's a lot of crazy homeless people who always believe it's the last day on Earth and they go around saying stuff like that. It's messed up. I came home pretty late one night and my roommate's bedroom was shut and I assumed she was sleeping already, but I saw something out of the corner of my eye in the kitchen. I said her name, but she didn't answer. I didn't think anything of it, so I walked into my room and before I turned the light on, something whispered, "I'm still here." Girl. I turned on the light in my room, but nothing was there, and I turned on every light in my house and knocked on my roommate's door and eventually opened it, but she wasn't there. So I left her light on too and slept with all the lights on. Girl, that's why you get out of the house. Call your roommate. When she came back the next morning, I asked her if she was messing with me, and she started crying and said she left because something was in the house messing with her and she had to get out. And you didn't think it would be a good idea to warn me that either a demon or a serial killer broke into the house? You were just gonna let me sleep there alone? Which I did. She's not a good roommate. When I was 17 and worked in retail as a cashier, I had a very old couple come through my line buying a wok. I have never used a wok in my life. The husband, who was at least 85, started making conversation with me about the wok and asked if I like Chinese food. Yeah, I like Chinese. Who doesn't? Do you want to go out with me to get some Chinese? And he winks at me. No, sir. This is weird. Your wife is right there. Oh well, he looks a bit disappointed and turns to look at his wife who is on the phone with someone. Would you at least like to come home with me and live in my basement? No! Did you really just ask me that? Who thinks it would be a good idea to actually say those words to somebody that you don't know? The rest of the transaction took place in terrifying silence. His wife never said a word. She was probably kidnapped. I wonder if he was joking because he sounded sincere, or if he was suffering from dementia or some other kind of, illness. But either way, I would have clocked out immediately. Making toast late one night, facing the kitchen bench, eating for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Cleaned up and turned around and every single cupboard door and cutlery drawer was open. Literally straight out of Paranormal Activity when they all just open at the same time. They were all closed when I went to the kitchen. And there was no way anyone could have snuck in and done it because I was home alone. And you definitely would have heard someone just come in and start opening stuff. I also didn't hear them open in the time I was in there. Scared the crap out of me, so I froze, let it register for a few seconds, then calmly closed everything and went back to my room to hide until daylight. One of the few weird things that happened to me growing up. That's what you gotta do. You can't freak out because that's what the demon wants. It wants that negative energy to feed on or something. So you just go, oh, that's weird. Just shut everything. Keep doing it if it keeps opening them, all rude. And then just go hide in your closet. The summer after I graduated from high school, I left work early and went up to my parents' cabin in northern Michigan. Spent that night at the beach watching the sunset. Once the sun went down and it became nearly pitch black, no light pollution, I got to my car and started driving down the highway. After about 10 seconds of being at speed, there was an older Tahoe, late 90s, that started riding my butt and flashing its high beams, trying to get her to pull over. So I got up to about 60 in a 45 and they were still on me. I hate when people do that on the freeway. It's like, I'm already going 100. You do not need to be on my butt like this. Pulled off to the side road that my parents' cabin is off of, and they took the same turn. I thought this seemed weird because there's only about 30 to 40 houses on the road. So I went all the way to the end, which is usually a dead end, but leads to a maintenance area for the golf course nearby. Truck was still following me. At this point, I was freaking out because if I pulled into the house, they'd know where we lived and they were still following close by. Yeah, if someone's following you, and you can't safely lose their trail, then don't go home because that's what they want. They want to know where you live so they can get you later. And drive immediately to a police station, or at least call 911 and tell them what's going on. And they'll tell you what to do. But yeah, if there's a police station nearby, go there and they'll go away, hopefully. I took a ton of random turns and the truck kept following every single turn for about 15 minutes. I finally had a chance to make a turn with traffic going through the intersection that gave me a few seconds of a head start. Pulled down a side street, went up 100 yards, turned off all of my lights and waited. Truck slowly drove by the perpendicular street and kept going. Booked it home, pulled my car around the side away from the main road and pulled every curtain. She was only 18! That is scary! This dude was straight up trying to kidnap her. Bark. This actually happened fairly recently. I was home alone one day with my dog and two of my friends' dogs. Out of nowhere, they all started barking and looking up towards our loft. Heck no, if my dog starts barking at an empty corner, you're out of there. As they're quieting down, I hear someone in a mocking, calm tone say, bark. They start going crazy again and I decide it's time to go for a long evening walk and call the cops while you're at it. Cause it sounds like y'all are just hoping this person leaves by the time you get back. Always look under the bed for people or monsters. My great aunt lived way out in the boonies by an old southern prison. Why do you people live by prisons? This was before most people had TVs, so she had been listening to the radio and found out that a violent had escaped from the prison nearby. She walked into her bedroom and had one of those old saggy mattresses and felt something under the bed. She said something didn't feel right and she slowly got off the bed and called the police. When they arrived, they found the escaped convict under her bed holding a knife from her kitchen. He told them he'd been waiting for her to go to sleep so he could attack her and stab her to death. So, I hope your great aunt is okay. How did she not notice someone was under the bed until she got on it? Can't you, see? It's not that hard just to, see under the bed. We found a leg. That's pretty straightforward. While cutting lawns along this bike trail, me and a coworker found a mostly decayed, severed from the knee down leg. Cops were called, they questioned us, and we never found out any more about what happened. If it was mostly decayed, that's a cold case leg. Make it like a scavenger hunt, look for the other body parts around there. But anyways, that is it for some creepy stories that gave me the chills and remind me to just never be anywhere alone ever, especially at night. Comment below if you have any of your own scary stories, and as always, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and follow me on all social media. Links are all down below, and I'll see you tomorrow.